Let's read the first example. Matthew deposits 4,000 Rand in a savings account, paying 10% per annum compounded annually. Now you will notice that this annually is in bold so that you may take notice of it. Remember, I said before that we're going to look at different compoundings like in grade 11. So to start with, we keep it simple and we look at annually. How long will it take for the savings to double? And this how long always must remind you we are looking for N. How long will it take? We must find N. That is our question. Now, what is given to us? He deposits 4,000 Rand into a savings account. The interest rate is 10%, compounded annually. How long, N is what we are looking for, will it take for the savings to double? Now, to double, what does that mean? The 4,000 Rand will double to 8,000. Let's discuss this problem now. Right, this problem where Matthew deposits 4,000 Rand. First of all, the 4,000 Rand. It's our compound interest formula. That 4,000 Rand, that is the P. That is what will be deposit. We also refer to this as the present value. That is the value now. The problem said that this 4,000 Rand is supposed to double. Now, that will be our A value, which then will be 8,000, because the 4,000 will double. So Matthew will invest 4,000 Rand. He wants the 4,000 to become 8,000. The interest rate R, and you must please take notice that R is given to us as 10%. That is an interest rate. That is a percentage. You are not allowed to substitute a percentage into your formula. We need to find I, and I, please remember, is R over 100. So that will be 10 divided by 100. Now, you are quite welcome to put the fraction into there when you calculate it, or you can work it out. Please remember, when you calculate this before substitution, you are not allowed to round it off. So that is why if it's an easy one like this one, where you can do the division and there's no rounding off, it doesn't matter. But please take note that you're not allowed to round this interest rate off because your answer will not be accurate. Then it's better to substitute this whole fraction into I. And when you calculate it on your calculator, you will work with it as a fraction then. Or in this particular one, you are quite welcome. Remember, you divide by 100. So that means the comma will move twice, and you get 0,1. Remember, this is not a percentage. This is a value. We're now going to substitute this into our formula. Please remember that the compounding was annually. So that means we're not going to make any change to N or I because it's not monthly, quarterly. We will get to those questions just now. So let's do the substitution. Our A is 8,000 Rand. Oh, not 80, but 8. Our P is 4,000 Rand. 1 plus I, where you now can use either 0,1 or 10 over 100. So let's use 0,1. 10 over 100 is also fine. Please just remember, like I said before, never to round this off. And then the N. Remember the question was, how long will it take for the 4,000 to become 8,000? So we want to solve for N. Before we do so, we always want this bracket alone on one side. So we don't want anything else. So we need to get rid of the 4,000. It's just a multiplication, 4,000 times by the bracket. To remove it, we will divide by 4,000. We will divide by 4,000. So we will get 8,000 over 4,000. And hopefully, if you agree with me, that is equal to 2. And that 2 represents the fact that it doubles. So we divide, it will give you 2. We can add those two numbers, and it's 1, 1, if I add 1 and 0,1, to the exponent of n. And now you have a very simple exponential equation. And we now need to solve for n. Whenever we want to solve an exponent. If my exponent is the variable, the only way to do it is by means of logs. Now, you may follow any one of two methods to solve for n. The first method is that we're going to log both sides. So we're going to say the log of 2 is equal to the log of 1, 1 to the n. So we apply the log on both sides of the equation. So now what we do is, according to our log laws, this n may go to the front. So we're going to get the log of 2 is equal to n times the log of 1, 1. And now we want to solve for n. And you can see it's now a multiplication, so it's very easy. We divide with that log. So my n is then equal to the log of 2 divided by the log of 1, 1. And now it's very easy to use your calculator, and you will only use the log button on your calculator, because there is no base with this log, so that means this base is 10, and that log button on your calculator works with a base of 10. And you will calculate this, and you will get your answer. Or another way of calculating this n is where we take this exponential equation and we rewrite it into a log equation. Now, let me just remind you of this log definition again. You hopefully still remember this. If a is equal to b to the n, how do we find n? And n is equal to the log of a with a base of b. That is called the log definition. That is to change an exponential equation to a log equation. Or we can go backwards as well if need be. But for this discussion, we're going to change from an exponential equation to a log equation using this definition. Now, if you look at this, 2 is equal to 1, 1 to the power of n. How can we change this now to a log equation? Very easy. This 2, that is our a, 1, 1, that is the b, the exponent is n. We said n is equal to the log of a base b. So n is equal to the log of a, which in this case is 2, with a base of 1, 1. And that is what we're going to calculate now on our calculator. Please take note that this is only one log. In the previous method, we used the log button where the base is 10. Now you can't use that button. You must use the button, and on most of the calculators, this log button is something like this. It's got a little square at the value and at the base. So this means the log of what with a base of what. So we can now decide what the value is and what the base is. And that is the button you must now use. So please push that button, the log button, this one. Then you push the 2 for the value. Then you push the 1, 1 for the base. And when you push your equal button, you will get the same answer. I, in the meantime, wrote down the answer for you on this previous one. That is where we used the 2 logs with bases of 10. That answer is 7,272540897. I wrote down all the decimals. Please, before you finish your question, please write down all possible decimals on your calculator. This is the same one here, 7,272540897. Now, what is the meaning of this answer? This answer means that it will take over 7 years, 7,27. So if we round it off to 1 decimal, 7,3 approximately. So it will take more than 7 years for the 4,000 Rand to double. Now, depending on the question in your test or exams, the examiners are sometimes happy that you just leave the answer like this, or that you round it off to 2 decimals. So then you will look at the 3rd decimal, which is 2, and you will say your answer is 7,27 years. and we write it down to 2 decimals. It all depends on your question. What they sometimes also require is that you must write this in years and months. So this then will give us 7 years and how many months? So to find the number of months, you will take the decimal, all the decimals. Instead of the 7, you will push a 0,272540897 times by 12, and it will give you 3 months. So your final answer in years and months will be 7 years and 3 months. That is how long it will take for the 4,000 Rand to become 8,000 Rand. Now, I am going to discuss this question with you again, but this time with a little twist. Let's quickly look at this question.